June the 26th, 2016. Guys, you're looking at carbon monoxide surface concentrations. These are satellite images. This is the null wind speed site. Two places that are the strongest on the planet right now. One is Yellowstone, and one is Southern California. Now, guys, we know we have fires in Southern California, but that's not the only place. But we do have that gas concentration there and up here in Yellowstone. Remember the videos earlier in the year where we had the big gas leaks there? I'm not sure, and I have not seen if there are any more of the infrared cameras that had been put in place. I don't know if they've taken those down. Guys, let us know here on the channel what you know about that in California. Let's change the perimeters here and look at the carbon dioxide at the surface, guys. Again, the strongest on the planet is over Yellowstone. That lets us know that we're probably getting some kind of leak from one of those fault zones in that area. Again, we've had about 40 small quakes, nothing large in the last 7 days. A couple of concentrated areas, and this particular map is hard to locate the exact area because it does not give that information. You can see the rivers, you can see the Great Lakes. I'll lay a semi-transparency over it and it'll give you kind of an idea, guys. You're seeing the northeastern section of Wyoming. It's not an exact match overlay, but very close. So you guys in that area, let us know, do we have geothermal activity that far east of the park? Just again, I've never been to that part of the nation. Some of you guys are very familiar with it. I've seen it from the other videos. But again, that area has high concentrations. I'd like to see what we're dealing with there. We're going to look at the USGS earthquake map. Again, if you look around the planet, nowhere else are we seeing that type of concentration. You see the blue dot again up there. I'll kind of pan around. You can see this. You're looking African continent, Europe. We'll look down under, look at Asia. Nowhere are we seeing that concentration. You guys down under, you don't have that problem, whatever it is. I'd like to find out, though, because it seems to be very strong. Now, again, I appreciate the heads up on that. But nowhere, again, South America, anywhere else on the planet, do we have that particular area of concentration right there, carbon dioxide. You see some in Southern California, it's heavily populated. You see some in New York, but very lightly. Now, while we're here, we're getting out of June, we're getting closer to July, and that's when the hurricanes start forming further out. The June hurricanes and storms usually form there in the Caribbean, but we're starting to see this shift, and you're looking at that basically sand in the atmosphere coming right off of Africa. You guys in the UK, you're getting a west wind. You're not part of that sand. Again, that's high atmosphere, and that's measuring it. But, guys, we've had a pretty good coronal mass ejection. Just started about midnight universal time. Now it's passed over the ACE satellites. You see those two spikes? That's measuring electrons and protons. So we need to kind of keep an eye, since our shields are weak, on the tectonic plates as far as earthquakes. Now, this is what happened, going back again to just coming into midnight, UTC time, Earth-facing images from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. And you'll see this. I'm going to back it up. We're going to slow it down. I'll back it up a few extra hours, but that was right at midnight. So let's go back into the 25th, a few hours, and take a look at the entire thing right here. Check that out. Again, I'm going to stop it and go through the motions. We've got a sunspot coming around, actually two of them that seem to be quite active. Look at that feathering flame, guys. You could encompass many of our planets in that semicircle you just saw. But we've had another couple of days of a spotless sun. It's been years since we've seen it like that. But here, going back, this is the eruption, and that's what we're seeing crossing the ACE satellites right there. It's a side blast, but it doesn't matter. They go out in all directions. Again, the ACE satellite is set up between the Earth and the Sun as an early warning system. If it wasn't spiking there, it wouldn't be striking our planet. And this is another satellite that gives us the same viewpoint as if we're looking from Earth, but it's called SOHO-LASCO C3. Now, the Sun is the size of the small white circle inside that dark occulter disk. That is there to block out the glare of the Sun so we can see the outside. You're seeing Venus come from behind the Sun. And you see that coronal mass ejection that comes out from that filament release. We're getting the side blow of that. It's very intense. Think of the size. Now, in the last week, we've had a lot of activity right here on the mid-Atlantic plate, guys. It's the largest split on the planet, and it has one of the greatest sliding points, and we'll look at that ever as far as the slip in one of those large faults. Again, I'll take a look at that. 40 quakes in this area, and this is east of where we're seeing the gas, guys. This is right in the center and left of the main Yellowstone area. So we're getting quakes in this area, but again, probably 100 miles or so to the west of there is where we're seeing that gas release. Now, this is 7 days worldwide, and the large one that started it, we had 3 coronal mass ejections last week, 3 large quakes on the mid-Atlantic ridge. This stretches all the way in through the Jerusalem fault line, like we talked about the other night, right through the Mediterranean. But this area, guys, I want to pull it up and show you. Just in this area, 16 quakes. You can see they're all at 10 kilometers except a couple of them, and that's strange. But right below those quakes, that used to be a straight line. You see that red line right there, guys? It slipped. One side moved east, one side moved west. Tremendous distance. Now, it didn't necessarily happen all at one time. The records don't go back that far. But that's where you're talking about large tsunamis. You think the Canary Islands, if one of those split, it would cause a tsunami? It's nothing compared to if this area right here has a large slip and a drop. You can drop down, and that will cause the tsunamis. Remember, if you see a tsunami, or if you see the water run out rapidly from the beach, very unusual, go out real far, you know to hit high ground, because those large tsunamis will pull that water out as the large waves are building. But then when they get back, that's the trouble. But I'm not saying we're going to have one. We're just watching that area because that's a lot of activity, starting with that 6.2 on this great fault zone. Now, guys, we're watching this. It's a heads up. Be safe.